Bring both budget sheets.
We'll call the meeting to order, and this is a meeting to discuss the 2027 fiscal year budget. That's really the first thing on the agenda, so we need the mayor in here to really start us off to answer a lot of the questions. Mike, you had a lot of great questions. Appreciate
I had a
that.
lot of questions. I don't know how great they were.
And he gave you some.
You gave me some answers.
So, did you have a chance to read those, Eric?
Yeah, I saw all the questions and the responses and.
So I think your question about understanding the numbers, if there's 600,000 here in the budget and we're gonna spend it next year, we need to know where we spend it.
Right.
We need to be clear on that. And it should be really no different than what we do at home with our budgets.
Well, that's-
We know where the money is and. know
Well, it
where-
depends on your home.
Yeah,
In some cases, it should be different.
Volume should be different for sure.
but our responsibility is to vet, that's what we're here for as a committee, is to vet the finances in the city. That's what this mayor and the city council has asked us to do as a committee.
What do you mean by that, Tibet?
Well, so if we're going to spend money on a fire truck,
Okay.
making sure that we're getting the best possible deal, that we can possibly, the best thing for the city.
And that there's a
Making
need.
sure it's not padding somebody's pocket out there or something like that. That it's fair and equitable for what we're trying to accomplish as a city, so.
Okay. So
Mike, are you on the finance committee now? I don't
Yes.
even know. Okay,
Yes.
and this is your first meeting?
my second meeting.
Okay,
I'm sorry, yeah, Mike's a member, and then we have Tim Larson on the committee, and then, of course, Janet Lunt.
okay.
Janet is the council.
Thank you, sir, very much.
Represents us here on the committee.
Okay,
And our responsibility is to try to vet the best we can. And look at the budgets and ask questions and see where we're at. So that there's another set of eyes looking at the budget process.
Thank you.
Brent is passing out our budget numbers right now.
and then this is your proposed budget for this next year.
Yeah, and just a reminder that little numbers document is kind of what I've dubbed the fixed costs, right? Or those are the numbers that are, kind of obligated to pay those bills.
Which ones?
The one with the smaller font.
Okay,
And that second page is that second tab in my document, Lori. That is more on what I've dubbed the variable costs, but things that the council basically needed to decide whether they wanted to continue to fund or not. Okay, let me see here. If I can join this meeting.
So Jody, where's Jody? Oh, Jody left.
Yep.
She has in her budget here 80,000 to replace the falling retaining walls. Is the wall falling down?
it's this one right here.
Yeah, low.
They have different, from what I recall from the last meeting, there's different opinions about that.
We've gotten 2 geotechs opinions, and they both said we've got anywhere from 4 to 10 years left. So that's not necessarily a very high item.
It will be in 4 to 10
Can it be,
years.
is it really gonna cost $80,000 to redo the wall?
That includes the engineering, the rock, and the stacking. So we're gonna look at the different options there, whether we go with the stacked concrete blocks or whether we go with the more uniform locking pin landscaping blocks, or we go with a rock wall. Rock is less likely because it's a harder engineering feat. We would also need to use GeoGrid. This may probably more information you want though, but for a rock wall to be stable in that way, we'd have to shoot the GeoGrid underneath the parking lot. We'd rather not have to rip the parking lot to create that wall.
Yeah.
So it's a little fun.
So we would not reuse the boulders that are there.
No.
Sure.
Those are limestone. Limestone have a terrible life expectancy because the way they mine them in the beginning is they blast them out of the mountainside, which creates the microfractures. And in our winters, the water seeps into those, freezes, and that's why they all deteriorate.
Can we sell them?
We could sure try. I don't know if they would survive very well the removal
okay.
from this, because that was the primary concern. Corbett had a lot of concerns because we'd pull in and there'd be a new hunk of rock at the bottom of the mountain. And he was always concerned somebody would park and have it crush them or whatever. So
Well, there's lots of people in Woodland Hills that, if they could figure out how to move it, would love to put it at the front of their driveway, whether it to be to put their name and address on it or just a decorative piece or whatever. But the key is being able to move them.
well, our loader can move them, right? If somebody wants one or two, that'd be super easy for us to get them a rock. But yeah, right now,
Yeah, we're years away
it's
from.
not on this year's budget item, but we probably do need to start thinking about what is that replacement model and how do we get that savings built up? So in a capital projects fund or something like that.
We could be like kids and take them up by the water tanks and then roll them down the hill.
Nice.
Trust Aaron to think about that.
I need to talk
He's a
to you.
kid.
I've got some ideas. Yeah, don't we have you in charge of Woodland Hills Days?
That's what we're gonna do.
Let's roll
Rock rolling.
boulders down the hill. I like this. This is good.
Can I say a quick
I am
question
a
while we're on
rough
this?
stone rolling.
On the subject of replacements, I'd asked a question, I didn't see an answer, Ben, about. Do we need to get competitive bids on any of these things that are in the budget?
I probably didn't answer that because the answer is kind of complex. It all depends on the threshold for the dollar amount.
Okay.
If it's a higher number, the answer is also no, if it's a state contracted contractor. So the state has a database
Right.
that we can use, and thus we can, that
Just hire somebody.
that omits that
Competitive bid.
requirement for the bid process.
Okay.
The most of the time we do try and get bids. Would you agree with that, Lori?
Yeah,
Do you wanna add anything there?
no, we do have contracts with some vendors for certain things for a certain period of time. But usually we do get bids.
Like when we do our paving project, we've done a lot of business with the asphalt companies, but we still get multiple bids.
Yeah, for each project usually,
But would we get multiple bids, for example, to replace the rock wall?
probably. Yeah,
Oh,
and
for
I
sure.
don't
And the
think
carpet
we're,
and the painting?
it depends on how much they are, yeah.
I think it was, well, it's,
Yeah, painting, probably not, because I think what we'll actually do is use our employee to do the painting. So we just buy the paint.
okay.
We don't need to bid Lowe's versus Home Depot.
No.
Yeah, or Sherwin, right? And so it'll probably be whichever one I go to buy said paint. And I'll probably look to see if I can't buy it on my company account. I don't receive a benefit at all. It just would be a price point. If my account gets us a better rate than say Home Depot, and I'd price all three.
Does the city have any sort of governmental rates that they get from?
I don't know, but I'd look into that one as well. So
Thank you.
I know it's not the,
So which sheet should we be looking at here?
well, I don't wanna, this is your meeting. So you tell me what you want to do.
Well, I just think we just need to go through the line items and see if there's any questions that we have as a committee.
Do we want to vet the variable stuff or the fixed stuff first?
That's probably
So I've got a couple items here on this front page. You see here, I've kind of got my column here, Finance Committee Review. So there's a few things that I have done that the council has not yet even seen. Let me see if I can get rid of this.
You talking about the ones highlighted? That's what you want to
Yep,
look at?
in blue. So just so you understand what I'm doing here. So this is, so in the past, the city has taken administrative wages, and Lori, I want you to interrupt me anytime that I say something inaccurate or you just want to take over.
Okay,
The show is yours. You know this better than I do. We have extrapolated, say for instance, Ted's wage in the past over 4 or 5 different departments so that we can account for where his
Time is.
funds are coming from. I've made the decision to simplify that and to help us be able to quickly see what exactly does Ted cost the city, for instance. With this being fund accounting, me breaking out or Lori breaking out Ted's wage across multiple areas of the general fund doesn't make any sense because it's all the same pools of money for the most part. Okay, so I've taken it and added all of Ted's wage from the general fund right here in 4141.100, the admin salaries and wages. Okay, and you can see right here in my notes, this is 50% of Ted's current wage. What I'm wanting you guys to take a look at here is if, as I have spoken with other mayors across the county, what are they doing for a cost of living and performance increase each year? And it looks like the standard is a 2% cost of living, which is guaranteed to all of their people, with a 2% performance increase. So a total of a 4% increase if performance merits it. So with Ted, I have done that here. So he has a 2% cost increase and a 2% of performance increase, which would be an addition of 3,144 on top of this 7,000 or 78,000. So Ted's total wage would be, what is that?
78 times 2 times 1.04.
Yes.
So it's times, it's not time, it's not,
So down here, if we keep going to help answer that question you might be having, Michael. Down here,
3144 twice, was my question.
so right here
Yep.
is
Yep.
the other
That's the other
50%,
50%, right.
which is, this is now coming out of the water fund. And so there, and you see here, that same 3,000. So this would be the increase to that number. And so when we finalize this budget process, that new number would sit right here
Okay.
for that budget period.
Why are we concerned about breaking wages into various buckets in the first place as opposed to just having them all in the general fund?
Good question.
Good question. So water only can pay for water, right? That's the rules. So we cannot expend funds out of the water because it is a usage fund. So everything has to do with taxation. So we, on the fund side of accounting here, we bill everybody per usage for the water that they use, and that goes into the enterprise fund. We cannot, without serious legislation, transfer money from the water fund into the general fund. It puts us at a high level of risk as well, because we're not, it's not tax, but I'm going to use this for the sake of understanding. It's taxation without representation to a degree, right? Is we're not all billed at the same level for water because I may use more than you do.
Just proportionate.
Correct.
Okay.
And the churches,
We're billed the same, we're
Way
billed
more.
the same water rate.
correct, just not the same quantity.
Right.
And empty lots are billed far less since they have zero usage, but they are still billed.
And that just came to be.
Correct. That was just because of when we did the bond for the water replacement project, the first phase of it, we had to increase for all of us, we got that $75 fee or so, what is it, $78 fee each month was to cover that bond payment. And it had to be on our water bill because it was a water project. A vacant lot is billed $39 a month. And so the reason we break Ted's wage, for instance, and Lori's and Toby's is because they're working on water. And so we can pull some of the burden off of the general fund and put it into the enterprise water fund so that we have more taxes in the general fund to assist with other items.
What level of rules are there regarding what percentage of their salaries we can do? Is that just the employee or the mayor's best guesstimate? Or is there some sort of code saying you can't just sock 100% of Ted's wage into water just because you can?
So we can sock 100% of Ted's wage into the general fund. We couldn't do it into the water fund because 100% of his time is not spent in the water fund.
But 50% of his time is?
Mhm. Yes, because if you think about it, anything that he is doing that requires anything or touches at all water
Sure.
is able to be allocated there. And that's all sorts of different variables. So we've done this to multiple things. So the loader is broken out for the general fund, so public works, so in the roads category, in the snowplow area, because it helps us load our trucks with salt, as well as water, because it helps us maintain the water infrastructure. And so we're basically offloading the burden of that expense onto the two different accounts.
And is it just a wild guess on how much the percentage would be?
I would say a best estimate rather than a wild guess.
Yeah.
I mean, you did 50-50.
Wild best estimate.
And then
Wild estimate.
and then you've got, what was it? Some others were 100% of Jody was general, but then Lori, there was
50%.
So Lori is 50% in the water.
Toby's 50.
Are you 30% on the general fund? Is that what we?
General and then 20, I think,
And
sewer.
then 20 on the sewer. Because Lori spends all of her time mostly doing all of the billing.
Right.
So it's all that administrative expense. And
That's
so
not automated? The billing?
I wish it's, pretty good, but I do have to do some things to make it work.
That's right. I would presume at this day and age, it would be automated.
and some of it is just also making sure the books are correct, right? She's allocating, reconciling, which touches all accounts so we can then.
I'll hold up a mirror, Mike. With your mental health counseling, how much of it is done automated billing versus
Yeah, exactly,
manual
yeah.
input?
So
Fair enough. All automated with a lot of follow-up.
a question on water billing. Are our meters read electronically, I would assume?
What percentage is read electronically?
Well, Toby drives around with an antenna on the car and a computer inside that pulls it's a radio read.
Okay.
That's how it's read.
Is that 100% of the city or is there some have to be manually?
Well, you give him a
Every-
list of
There's
6 to
a
8.
few that had some error and didn't read, and he'll go back and correct it or maybe manually read it if to be.
We have to replace the meter.
But he does have to drive around with an antenna
He does.
proximate to it. It's not just
Right.
some signal that's reporting back to the city center
There
automatically.
are signals that some cities have where they can read it in the city center and not need to drive around, but we don't have that. Plus with our topography,
It would make it even more.
yeah, it might be hard.
Yeah. Thank you. That's what I thought.
Perfect.
I thought if we were doing it manually, maybe we ought to go electronic.
Yeah. Oh, that would be bad.
They used to do that.
Well, you never know.
It's
Some
not that
cities
long
probably
ago
did it
that
manually.
they
We
were
did it for
opening
years
up
up on the
lids.
Soldier Summit and now it's all electronic, so.
I would request that you guys assume the worst in all of our processes and ask the question. So that we, you know, the last thing we need to be doing is something just because we've always done it that way. So that's what I'm looking at here predominantly is these are the raises that I'm looking to give. So you'll see here also, so this is Jody here, 100% of her wage comes from the general fund because she doesn't deal with water, she doesn't deal with sewer. So we can't justify offloading that financial burden.
Are those the three options, water, sewer, and then everything else?
Oh, water, sewer, general, yes.
And
Yep,
fire is part of general?
correct. Yep, and it has everything to do with where do the funds that fund it come from?
Right.
Right, because Michael and I don't spend a dime, and I don't think Lori does, on sewer. And I'm not sure if you, are you on sewer? Or
I
you-
spent a crap ton on sewer.
And so.
No pun intended.
So, are you on sewer? Okay, so we're on septic and thus we don't have to pay for that cost or infrastructure because we're not using it.
Right.
General fund though, everybody uses it, thus everybody gets, and that typically comes from property tax.
Everything built now though is on sewer, right?
No, only if it's within 100 feet of a current sewer connection.
So everything that's going on in Maple Canyon, that's still septic because there is no sewer there. Whereas if it's up in Thousand Oaks, then
Thousand Oaks is sewer,
it's sewer.
and if you're down in Summit
Summit
Creek.
Creek is sewer.
There's a state law that if you're within a certain number of feet to sewer, you have to bring the sewer to your home. So the new areas have it and it may slowly spread. We'll see.
I wear the proud flag of being the first one to run sewer in the Thousand Oaks lines.
Really.
My condolences.
When we were building our house, they said the Thousand Oaks sewer lines are there, but they're dry. They don't connect down. So we don't know whether you're going to be on sewer or septic. And so like literally the week before we're closing on our house, the city said, we just finished the sewer connection. So don't run out to the septic, run out to the sewer.
Well, you could have connected onto it and it would have gone down onto Ted Hanks's property.
Did you?
No, it didn't even go that far. It only went to Searle's property.
So do you have a septic system?
No.
Oh,
So
good.
right at that point of, are we gonna have to install the septic and then not use it? But we never installed the septic, but we had all of our plumbing run to the back of the house, planning to dump out into the backyard to where we would put a septic. So all of our plumbing goes from the front of the house to the back and then takes a 180 turn and then goes all the way back to the front of the house and out to the street. And so I bought my own professional plumbing snake because I have to snake my lines every 6 months to keep all of that line flowing.
We'll have to get you a special sewer plaque that you can hang to honor.
Honorary. Yeah, so that's what I'd love you guys to take a look at here, right? Just to understand, Jody, 6%, and this is due to taking on additional duties from Chris,
Right.
as well as a 12% to Lori for taking on a larger sum of the duties of Chris.
So as we look at the budget for total wages and we say we're giving 6% and 12% more to these people, how much are we overall saving in total salaries and wages as opposed to what we were last year, let's say?
So, do you want to take this?
No, go ahead.
So Chris cost us roughly around $150,000. And that is salary plus benefits, retirement, all of the numbers. So we just hired, and on this next council agenda will be the contract for somebody named Charlene Wild to help us as a bookkeeper,
Okay.
to help us finalize our checks and balances and a lot of that institutional knowledge. So she will take on a number of these additional duties, though there are still a large sum that will stick with Lori that weren't there prior. Or she wasn't, let me correct that, she wasn't compensated for. She has been taking them on for years now. But Charlene also will then do a lot of the state statutory filings. So to make sure they're at the right places, she will file all of our 1099s, our taxes, all of that stuff. And she will then also help potentially even with some grant writing because she's exquisite at grant writing, which is going to be fabulous. She costs us $95 an hour. We interviewed 2 people, both fabulous candidates. The other one was gonna cost us around $15,000 a year. So you can kind of do that math from 150,000 to 15,000. Charlene is a little cheaper than that. At $95 an hour, she thinks she can close the books in around 5 hours a month. So she'll be around 5 to 8. And if you can, run the numbers, that'll be around $700 to $800 a month. And then it'll be probably around $3,000 a year for the audit prep.
Okay.
And so you can just, looking here, we're 3, well, I won't include Ted there, but so 5, 7, let's add another,
That's only 30% of.
that's
Laura's
30% of
increase.
hers, so let's go 11,000 plus another 11,000, so 22,000. So we went from 150,000 to 22,000.
So we are
Good trade-off.
budgeting less.
That's a good savings.
$110,000 savings or so. Okay, and this next item here is just the FICA. So this is just an addition due to the raises. And the retirement, same addition there. Hence, I put them in those blue categories.
Sorry.
Please.
Go back to the FICA. There you go. So I'm looking at 24.5, that's 7.65% of wages. You said it was due to the increases, but that's due to over total wages.
And that'd be total
Right.
wages.
Yes. That I need to figure out here. What is my algorithm?
You got 300 grand total salaries.
How did I math that out?
Again, I'm looking at, 24 there versus 15. So I'm just trying to follow the math.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to be able to pull all of the baselines down and then add that 7.65%.
Yeah, and I know
The
I've got
problem is you did times 7.65 rather than 0.0765.
Thank you.
You got the second, yeah, there you go. Let's see what that does.
That can't be correct.
Yes, that can be
That would
correct.
be the FICA on the increases,
Yeah.
which is what he said it
That can
was.
be
This,
correct, yes.
FICA on the
He said it was
increase.
FICA on the increases.
So that's the percent
Yes.
increase.
Thank you.
Michael, if you can find any more of those errors, I appreciate it.
Just the number.
So just so you understand what you just did,
We just saved the city in the budget.
$23,000.
$30,000.
30,000, okay.
Because this number was 17 and now it's 40. So that's that's the amount we have in excess to what has been currently budgeted.
Is there a finder's fee for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Double.
Here's
your
an
salary.
eighth of
Double what I
blah, blah, blah. Okay, any of these other things you'd like to
Mayor,
know?
can you go back up just a little bit there? Of
course.
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, going. Right there. The retirement, 1564, what's that?
So that is retirement. So that is the URS payment. So there's my note on it. This gets a little confusing
It says
because,
penalty on there.
yes, so Lori's already retired. And so we have to pay a penalty by hiring a retired person.
From URS? Okay.
You don't look that old.
Thank you. No, I called and asked them about it and they said that, if the city were to hire someone who is not retired, that person would be contributing to the retirement system where I'm not. And so they charge a penalty. It goes to URS. It doesn't come to me or affect my retirement. It's just a penalty for hiring me because I'm not contributing to the retirement system.
Interesting.
So,
Interesting.
So we're paying
Is that
both,
only because you are a former public employee?
yes,
URS retired,
yes.
right? So it's like, they don't want you to double dip.
Yeah, she was a high school
High school.
math teacher.
Yeah.
We're paying retirement We're paying URS and FICA.
FICA, yes, but FICA's the
Right.
line
So
above.
that doesn't become part of FICA then?
Mm-mm. No,
FICA's
we
on
pay
top.
for both. To help you better understand what this is, this 15.97% of wages is for tier 1 employees. The government then changed what that meant and it shifted. So Lori and Jody are tier 1, correct, Lori?
Yes.
And Toby and Ted are tier 2. So that's why this math is a little weird.
The
I
tier
don't
one is
understand
the
why that
old
would
time,
be.
the tier one is the old timer
Yes.
retirement. They've lessened the benefits now and
Yes.
tier, everyone.
It was
hired us
defined
to-
benefit before, right?
Mhm.
And now
It's just based on date of hire, not
Yes.
on job
Right.
title.
Right.
So it's better to be hired long ago instead of now.
The state just got wise and says we can't keep paying 16% contribution. We gotta reduce it to 14% contribution.
I believe these numbers change in July too. I think tier 2 is actually increasing slightly and tier 1 is decreasing.
So it'll probably wash out.
Be close to what it is now, but just slight adjustment.
Perfect.
So who takes care of that adjustment internally here? Is that
I
you?
do, yeah.
You take care of it? Wow, thank you.
Lori and Jody are the brains of this operation.
Sure.
But Lori, you've only been with the city for 5 years or so now? And so before this was Jody doing it all with Chris?
I think Chris was
Well,
doing,
we had a treasurer prior to Jody or to Lori.
yeah.
There was?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't remember.
Yeah,
Patty
I
Cal.
remember, I remember her.
Yeah,
Okay.
she was here quite a few years. I don't
I
know.
can't remember her name though.
Patty Kell.
Patty, that's right,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's right.
Yep. And so the rest here on this page that I was really hoping you guys would take a look at is, again, this is the water fund. So all the same numbers. And you can see I actually, did some math correctly on this one. Sorry, Michael, I didn't give you another option to save us a bunch of money. And then the same down here with Lori's wage coming out of sewer. Did you get that email? Did you read that, Aaron, about the 690,000?
I got the email and read through it, but I don't remember the answers.
Okay. Lori, do you remember, what was the $690,000?
That's one thing we had a
I
question.
don't know what you're talking about, but 690,000. There was an email?
So, no, there was in our meeting prior, it's right here. So if you can go to 4141.700. So it's this, Aaron was looking predominantly, I think, at historical numbers, and then all of a sudden a massive spike at 690,000. I believe it was a transfer from savings we were potentially going to use to pay off an old bond that may help us be able to increase our lending power. And our lender recommended that we don't do that because the older bond had a better interest rate than our one we were going to be getting. And we still had the leverage we needed to be able to get what we needed without paying that one off.
In 4141,700.
Yep.
Yeah, 690,000. And the note on this could go away in 2027, won't know until evaluation has been done on the new bond.
Have we already pulled that out when we opened the budget?
I don't see the 690 here.
So we did open the budget 2 council meetings ago. We did adjust a few things. This may have been one of those because that would have been the type of thing we did adjust the budget for, is we pulled the bond out, because we had already allocated it into the budget. And we pulled some of those savings out, so we edited 4 line items. Because if you actually look at the revenue side, Aaron, up on 3840. That $1.4 million transfer from capital funds is to your point, Michael, that is the revenue line item to our 690,000 expense line item.
Which one are you looking at? Which number?
3840.
3840?
Yep, in the revenue section.
And so are you saying that there'd be 1.4 million, sorry, of the 1.4 million, 690 would be backed out? And then that line down there where it's got 690 as an expense, that goes away. So
But
it's a
90
net zero.
remains, so 600 of it goes away.
Okay.
And that 90 was
Consistent
for
with historical
engineering fees associated with the pavement management plan, I believe. Is that what that 90,000 is in that 41,700?
I think it's the payment for the,
No, it's principal sales tax revenue refunding bond description.
Oh, is that the payment to that one loan?
yeah,
Okay.
it's a payment.
And that's consistent with historical patterns.
So Chris has a note here. It says refinance 2013 bond to save 100,000 in interest. This bond was for Woodland Hills Drive redo, park upgrades, city center upgrades, and a salt shed.
Mm-hmm. So that's a current bond we have outstanding that we're still making payments on. Question?
The 1.4, or is that a different bond?
The 1.4 is a transfer from savings. That was a revenue line item.
Okay,
That's a revenue
So-
line item.
okay.
Yeah, the 690, now that Lori's corrected me, 600 of that would have been in excess to our 90,000 obligated payment
Okay.
to burn it off. Instead, we're leaving it in savings to decrease the amount we need to pull. So we'll pull that from savings still and use to help us with the 3rd phase of the pavement management plan.
So if I'm reading correctly here, Mayor, that we have total revenue of 3,836,190.
If you exclude the 1.4 transfer from savings, you will see,
2.4.
yeah, so if I, for instance, zero that out, we're at 2.4, yeah. In revenue. And again, this is us speaking about the 2026 budget, not the 2027. Okay, did that answer that? On the 690 there, Aaron? Is there any other questions here? Because we have the fount of all knowledge with us.
New ambulance. Can you stop there?
I can.
$150,000. Is that projected in stone?
It is not projected in stone. So this is more of a pass-through because you'll also see up here in the revenue side. Trying to make those connections for you, Michael, for you and for me.
Got it.
There should be 150,000 here. This is actually inaccurate now. This needs to be 170,500.
Did we sell it?
We have sold engine 192 for 170,000 instead of the 150 we were
I
anticipating.
know we were trying to sell it.
Yep, and
We did, okay.
we're waiting for that check to come.
Is that the old engine?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so the council approved Ted to be able to look for a new ambulance at a maximum price of 150,000.
Okay.
And that will give us the chassis we need and the box system for the ambulance, which has apparently a killer warranty on it from the makers of that. And so we'll actually be able to pull and lift the boxes in the future, swap out the chassis and put the boxes back on with this other type. It's a higher brand. And so we're looking for those used currently. Santaquin's fire and EMS people are in that market of buying and selling professionally ambulances. And so they have their feelers out for us, looking for that new ambulance.
It's a
Will
pretty
it
good
be
site
new?
gig.
Will it be new or used?
It'll be a used ambulance. I think a new ambulance is like $250,000, $300,000.
Seriously?
Yeah.
We're in the wrong business, Aaron.
You have to remember, ambulances come with all the bells and whistles and sirens.
And sirens.
I mean, the truck chassis itself, to buy a new truck is 75, 100?
This is probably closer to 120 new because it's basically an F350.
50.
Four-wheel drive,
Mm-hmm.
I assume.
Yep, ours, not all ambulances are, but that's a good question. We do require that.
Up here you'd have to.
Yep, but there's been too many times I've heard that we got a call and the ambulance didn't start. And so they start pulling stuff out, throwing it in a brush truck and driving and showing up in a fire truck to take care of it per patient. It's not as catastrophic for us because we do not have a license to transport currently patients. And so Salem's always on the way, but we are
But the timing issue could be a problem.
100%. And it's only going to get worse because as I was reading our demographics, well, you can actually see those here.
Aaron's getting pretty old.
Aaron is getting old.
Is Rachel's plan to get Woodland Hills able to transport themselves?
That is one of the goals simply because with that option comes a financing ability. There's money in transport. There's not money in response. And so we were hoping that it actually could help start paying for the EMS
Generate some
program.
revenue. Yeah.
Yep, so you can actually see right here in the general plan, I'm going a little off script. This is the current demographic of our residents. So 18.5% of our residents in Woodland Hills are over the age of 65 years. 40.8% is 50 to 64. So the majority of our residents are greater than the age of 50.
I'm not in green or purple.
But you live longer.
I'm in orange personally still.
You live longer.
I got one more year in orange.
If the radon doesn't take you, I agree.
Yeah, you're gonna live longer up there because the air's fresh.
So out of the inversion in the winter, yeah.
So we're gonna survive. Average age 100, right, Aaron?
In Woodland Hills?
Average age?
We can get to 100, can't we?
We
Sounds
can. You could back in the 1890s as well. Doesn't mean the average age is.
Exactly. Okay, are you, Chairman, are you okay if we jump over here? To some of the variable
I'm
costs?
good. I'm good with that.
Okay, any other questions though on that primary budget? Okay, so this is where I'd love your guys' increased degree of scrutiny. Many of these are budgeted numbers in the sense of they may come in lower. They're all budgeted high in anticipation. I have designed the budgeting process this year for us to have a better understanding of the finances as we proceed through the year, that I'm gonna break out each department and have a council member over each department. And so as a budgetary item is satisfied, meaning the job has been completed and the funds have been expended, any excess funds will be able to drop into a pool that in the next council meeting, we would be able to have the council reallocate those funds to the next item in prioritization. Whereas in the past, we kind of didn't have that level of scrutiny, if that makes sense. So one item I have changed since the council looked at this is I increased my own line expenditure for 4111.600 mayor expenses from, I believe it was $300 to $1,500. The reason for this is I've got a few, like I was telling you earlier, Mike. I'm hoping to do some different events, which hopefully will bring the community a little closer together. I'm wanting to.
So this is more hot dogs?
This would actually be desserts. So you guys are going to be the first to hear about this in the general public.
Wow.
I'm hoping to be able to selectively pick couples who would be able to do somewhat of like a progressive dinner throughout the city on, say, a Friday night. Finding people that would help facilitate a conversation, but one couple from each ward would start at one place with an appetizer, the next for a meal, and then come back to the city center. And I'd have, say, 4 of these groups going at one night. And then it would end with dessert with the mayor, where we would then all be able to come together. And my goal is to create relationships, because there's nothing greater than a ward boundary for isolating people. And I'm wanting to break that down. So I feel pretty good about this, especially with the recent legislation that has passed in this last legislative cycle at the state, that the state wants an increased communication about and between religion and government. So I've been working with President Averett to try and coordinate and select who these people may be, and we'll eventually slowly cycle through the entire city eventually, if it ends up working. But this increase here would be basically just for those expenditures on desserts, and it will probably usually be cheesecake and creme brulee.
And not just focused on LDS,
It will very much not only be focused on LDS, it'll be a mix always.
But
Members and non-members.
But your understood demographic pairing is based on ward boundaries, just because if nothing else, whether you're a member or not, somebody that lives on Broad Hollow doesn't talk to somebody on Maple Drive,
right,
church or no church,
100%
geographically around the
I
city.
get that.
Yep, it's just an easy way to break our city into 4 pieces. And then when we divide for the next ward and we do 5, break it into 5 pieces just to keep, and those boundaries. And it'll focus on new move-ins as well. So they'll have a higher prioritization and people I select for this, or the committee I'm creating for this project, to help introduce them faster into the city and get them integrated. So that's what that budgetary line item is. So I'll just kind of slowly scroll here. Do you guys want any other
The only
understanding?
question I would have, is it pretty well in line with what we've generally done year after year?
That's the one thing we don't have is a comparison of what was it in prior year. This is a variable amount. We could say 0 and we wouldn't be terribly harmed. But there is some historical precedent on book subscriptions. If we drop out of Utah League of Cities and Towns,
Yeah.
that's probably not wise, but we could.
And that's why I put it on this page, is for the council to make that decision.
So I think it would be helpful to have a column that shows historical average next to this to be able to show, is this right in line or is this a change?
So on some of those things, we can do that, right? So this is 4141601. So,
Is it because of the new budgeting that you can't, that you haven't done it?
yeah, to a degree. So you can see, here's your historicals on that particular line item.
So it's a couple thousand more.
So a couple thousand more. And that is due to, I believe, 601. So we got a new printer. We're also budgeting for a little bit more on the computer replacement plan.
So now I'm confused on if some of these, in fact, it looks like maybe many of these are already on the other one. How are you not double counting them?
Great question. So if you actually look over here in this one, you see I'm empty here. So this calculation here, generating this 60,000, is pulling this line and totaling it up minus revenue, or revenue minus this page. So if it's blank here and in blue, that means I pulled it over into this page.
Got it.
And then if I put a check in this box, it deducts this quantity from this total. So for instance, if I come here, we'll go negative 20,000. And so the reason I don't have a historical in a quick example here is I pushed my staff when they were creating this budget to dream up anything they could think of that hasn't been done in the past. Because it just didn't make the budget or it didn't get slumped or shoved into a large pot. I wanted the council looking at these items specifically, instead of a big pool.
Right.
Now, I probably could have gone a little more granulated, say on this 13,000 and broken out each subscription. Jody just felt that there was the precedence of that type of a number, and we've all kind of known what's in it and that type of a thing. But we can for sure break that out if you're.
Okay, so all those items underneath the 4141699 are not part of 4141699. That's just other stuff.
Correct.
Okay.
And so one of the things that Lori and I need to do after this meeting, and after you guys give us your feedback on this meeting, is I need to create the mayor's budget. And the mayor's budget will then go back to looking a lot like this document that you've seen for years, which will have these pulled in to where they need to be categorically.
And as far as the optional categories, you're just gonna start with the ones and move on down the line until we're out of budget?
That's what we've done here, yep. Yep, so we've gone through with the staff prioritizations, and the staff or the city council is who put these X's here, which then said, yes,
Those are
we
the
want
ones
to
that
do
will be
that.
funded, okay,
Correct.
okay.
And so the ones that are not funded, are those also not only blank, but highlighted in red right now?
Yep.
Those are the ones that you say, we're gonna kick this can down the road.
Mm-hmm. Yep, or like here, we just had great opposition to it. LEDs throughout the city. I had a few council members who said, well, studies show LEDs are actually not healthy. I don't know the evidence. I don't know the evidence on that. I'm clearly dying, so it must be my LEDs at my house. But they just said, no, it's a waste of money, boom. And so that's where that red came from. Because you can see we've got the budget for it.
Right.
But it doesn't necessarily mean. Another item that they'd love to think about is adding in here a savings pot for a new playground at the park.
Now, is emergency savings building that somewhere in here? Is that somewhere else? Because I seem to recall there was a council discussion about that, and we want to keep X amount of dollars available.
Was it 250,000 at all times?
250,000 for, but not for an emergency.
Well,
What do you mean an
and
emergency?
I'm not going to call it slush fund, but have,
It's the, like Mike and I were talking about earlier, it's the laundry machine broke type money, right? Non-budgeted items that come up as an expense.
Pump goes out.
yeah,
Now, again, remember the two different funds. If the pump goes out, we're not keeping $250,000 on hand in the fund. We have what do we have in the water fund? 2 million?
Let me look.
So there's a lot more money over here because it's way more important than the general fund anything.
Priority. Water's a priority.
And we have to save for any infrastructure replacement over in this fund. We can't raise property taxes to pay for that.
but where we've got $60,000 left, say, how much of that should we say that audio system? Let's go ahead and do it because we got 60,000 left. Or no, we feel that that audio system can wait. So let's keep that 60,000 over in our general fund and increase from 250 to 310.
Or we come up here and we decrease this number by 60.
Just decreasing taxes on the revenue side. Yeah.
I'm hesitant to do that because that just means if we have a need in the future, that pain gets even harder then,
Right.
right? Would I be the hero of ages if I lowered property taxes? I think some people would say great, and then when I had to raise
I
them
don't think
back
you'd
up,
have very many people bowing at your feet.
Well, but we look at the pattern of our state legislature over the last several years, they've been taking small little decreases in the income tax rate. And we could take a small decrease in our property tax rate in order to bring our revenue in line with our projected expenses.
Yeah, and I think that's what I want you guys to be thinking about and to make that proposal. But we also have so many things that we have things to spend money on. Right? And some of them aren't on here. Like I said, the playground, right? We really should do something different there. That equipment is not just outdated, it's also at times becoming dangerous.
Yeah, you don't
So-
want dangerous.
We need to, and it's probably the most scenic park in Utah County. And nobody ever goes there apparently because all the kids think it's dumb. And it gets super hot and it's, they
Super
They
hot
get
is a
burned.
very relative term.
100%. But those are the types of things, I believe that there is a place we can allocate these funds in a fiscally responsible way.
My alternative suggestion would be to use any excess to pay down debt first.
Also a great idea. And this is what I'd love to see from the finance committee,
Suggestion.
is to sit there and say, what is the best use for this? Right?
I think because you have excess money, I don't think you should look for places to spend
Right.
it unless it's really needed.
Right, and I agree with you. And I think that's some of what's being perceived.
Yeah.
And so that's why I bring it up. I think that if we're borrowing any money for anything that we're spending money on should be an absolute necessity. Because otherwise we're paying interest on a
Those are
playground.
good points, Mike. I agree with that. And
And I don't think anybody would agree to paying interest on a playground, but if we're paying interest for roads and we're building a playground, then really we're paying interest for a playground. Because we could use the playground money to pay for roads. And I know the numbers are not commensurate, but it's the principle.
Money is fungible.
Right.
Right? Water money is not fungible to general fund money, but general fund money is fungible.
what I talked to the mayor about is, we talked that we really have four things in this city that is really important. Water, number one. Roads, probably, and snow removal, number two. And then 3 would be fire. And fire is really an issue, could be a real issue this year. So all it takes is one match and we could be gone.
It's funny, I was looking at the amount that Ted requested. And not just because I'm on the fire department, but I look at that and I think that's money well spent.
Absolutely.
For this city, especially this year, it's money well spent if we've got our department well equipped. And I think it could pay dividends.
Another way to look at that $60,000 leftover is what are some things that we're skimping on that we could spend more on and get a better investment? Like, for example, you mentioned the ambulance. If we're buying a used ambulance for 150, what if we just bought a brand new ambulance for 210?
Well, and this is one of the things that, we should vet is our whole building structure here, housing our equipment downstairs. A lot of our equipment sits outside and deteriorates and things like that.
Not as much anymore.
It's been cleaned out pretty good down there.
Have you been down there lately?
I haven't.
Is that because we just used to have a lot more vehicles and we've consolidated to just a few?
Yes.
We were hoarding all kinds of stuff.
Yes. Toby's a neat freak. And
Good for Toby.
he's an organization neat freak.
I'd like to go down and see what he's done.
Yeah,
I've wanted to do
You
that.
can't
for
find
a long
anything
time.
anymore, but
No, even
it's all
like,
cleaned up.
He sure can.
street signs, they used to be just laying all over the place, stacked, mismatched, and now he has them all on the wall, grouped by category. You can see exactly what we have and how many.
Yep.
It
It's
looks
good
so
stuff.
good.
I love Toby.
Workbench,
Yeah.
workbench, empty.
We don't need a new street sign,
I
but
wanna
we
go
do
see it.
need
Can I
Toby to
go see
go
that
and
at
straighten
this
the street sign.
They're cooking.
I'll give
Yeah,
Toby.
it got bent in half and then I bent part of it back, but I don't have the tools. I mean, I did this as I was driving by one day and just went, oh, I'm gonna try and bend that back a little bit better so it's at least visible, but it's the intersection of Loafer and Woodland Hills Drive in, what's his name? I can picture him, Jeannie and
Brad Merritt.
Brad Merritt's
Yeah.
corner.
Okay.
That stop sign there, there's a yellow sign below it that's flat on one side and then curvy on the other side of it because it got whacked by something going around.
So we've got a system by which we can give Toby lists of things that need to be done. So if you shoot me a text of a picture of that with even if like a pin or something on it, I can add it and it'll be done tomorrow.
Toby is so good.
It's an easy thing to just take 2 bolts off, lay it down on the ground, flatten it out, and then put it back up.
100%. Yeah.
Doesn't even cost money, just time.
So here's the thing, that $60,000, there are a lot of places on that list, right? Where have we pinched the penny so thin that it's gone ragged? Like, for example, on one of these right here is the city center mat, the entry mat, right? We've had that Woodland Hills mat in the entry for so long that's half duct tape, it's missing the A. And I think it wears on a few people when they walk into their city center and it looks like you walked into, budget rent-a-car. There's some things we could do to make that look nice, Maybe another thing is when we redo the mailbox or the roundabout, maybe we want to put some money into that roundabout for
A sign.
a sign or a bronze or something to,
Are the flags going away?
flags are not, well, they are for a little bit and then
Right, but they'll be back in, okay.
New flagpoles.
Great, okay.
Yeah.
Digitizing city records, that's gonna be done internally or hired out professionally?
A little of both.
And that's a 3-year plan, if I recall. It's not long-term, in other words. It's time limited.
Yeah. I thought you
Like
said
2-year
half
program.
1 year. That's an
Write that down. I'll articulate that a little better,
Right, like
later.
that.
That question.
Okay.
The plan of the digitizing the records, because there's some personal information that I'd be happy to share
Okay.
and that wouldn't be appropriate for me to put on the record.
So the flooring that's up there for 25,000, that's this carpet?
The 25,000 is a rough estimate for potentially, because the council, it used to be 50,000 for the entire main floor here. The council said, this carpet's fine.
Yeah.
And so they cut it in half to do that side. Because like in Jody's, there's like a 1/2 inch roll where the carpets come off. And we've stretched the carpet. The last time we got it stretched, the stretcher said, this is the end. It's time to replace it. And this is
The
original.
stuff that's used on a daily basis versus just periodic for meetings.
Yep. And we'll basically say, okay, we're approved for 25,000. If we can get the whole building recarpeted for 25,000, we'll do it. Or we'll tell the council, hey, we need 26 to do the whole building. Would you want to do that? And they'll say, no, we still want you to just do the half and we'll take the excess. Thank you very much. I'm trying to let the council dictate the priorities of the city because they hold the purse strings.
Okay, what other questions do we have then on here? We gotta get Mike home. So we can go. Wish his son a happy birthday.
Amen.
It's all good.
The council basically said, when it comes to fire, especially this year, they checked all the boxes. The fuel reduction here, similar thing. Council just said this is what we feel is a good prioritization of funds.
So right now, the fire department is pretty well stocked with a new fire truck, brush truck. We're in good shape in that area.
Ted will be coming to the council in the near future requesting a new brush truck.
A new brush truck. We just got a new brush truck.
Yeah, the old one has died and it's limping along.
An ignominious death.
It's got overheating issues. Craig is doing his best to
So
keep it
we'll have
running.
two brush trucks then.
Yeah, we would sell the one that's dilapidated and then we would replace it. So when our fire mitigation crew goes out on a fire somewhere, they're taking the one you're calling the new brush truck.
Okay,
And we need a better truck in the city.
yeah, we do. We need a good one.
So
They make money for the city when they take it. So we'll
Yes.
take it, we'll keep one here for when we need it.
It's a good program.
there are some cities who are fully funded by their fire mitigation crews. I think I can't remember the name of the city, so I won't try and butcher one. But they make about $2.5 million a year just farming out their 9 crews. And so
Cruise, wow.
they've built the whole program around it. They've hired administration to just run the program. But they don't have the property tax problems we do because all that revenue comes, but they don't have commercial like we also don't have. So that is a strategic element. Our problem right now is we're on that pinnacle because we need fire bosses, crew bosses that can actually have the certification to run the crew, and figuring out how we cover their costs. And we really need to get to another crew at least to really start making money. We're at kind of a break even unless we have like last year, that California fire, which made us most of our money last year.
Although we haven't
You're gonna
received.
have plenty of fires this year.
Yes.
So I have a question here on Ted's budget.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that he's talked about, and you've mentioned, Mayor, that there's possible grant money coming forth, but we need to be thinking about this phase 2 water line. I don't know how critical it is, but at the time it sounded pretty critical when we were in the throngs of it. I guess we don't need to understand what that is and what kind of budget. I guess a $4.5 million project.
Correct. So
When
we
you say phase two, are you talking secondary water?
No, main water line.
So remember, where do you live? You're up on Eagles Nest, right?
Not quite.
Are you Thousand Oaks?
I'm Richard, I'm Thousand.
So you're in good shape.
So the original development of the city used iron ductile piping, which started eroding because of the acidity of our dirt, all sorts of things. It is dying faster than it should. So on the lower levels of the city, 3 years ago, Lori? 3 years ago. When we ripped up a bunch of streets and replaced all the water lines, that's where the $75 on our bill each month comes from. That was phase one of the water project.
Got it.
So now, so Michael's Road is atrocious. And he loves it. He and all of his neighbors may ask me monthly when their road's being repaired. But it needs the water line replaced. So that goes basically from Michael's, well, just below Michael's house, all the way up to Highline and around in Sky Lake. And basically that area is phase two.
That's putting in an 8-inch line.
Are you saying Lower Maple has already been replaced?
Correct.
Okay.
So our budget of the first phase,
No, that would explain there's new asphalt on the lower half.
correct, they got a new water line. The budget went further than we anticipated with the bond we took.
So it was 3.2 million, but we got 300,000 of that forgiven as a gift.
Beautiful. And we then also
So
were
it's
able to
2 point-
extend
so it's
further.
2.9, as I remember, is what we bonded for.
Yep, and we were able to do more than we anticipated in the first engineering scope. And we found with Ted that's typically the case. He is by every nature an engineer, right? Overestimate and thus you're not being burned on the back end. So I anticipate we'll go through a similar cycle again. We have requested through Burgess Owens' office for earmarks on the next federal budgetary cycle. I believe 2.5 million of the 4, because Burgess thought he could get that more confidently than the 4.5 or 5. So we are hoping with that also what was that? The department, the Department of Drinking Water.
It was the Rural Utah Drinking Water Association of Utah.
Thank you. They are also then, they are currently on, what's the term? They're not taking any applications right now. They're waiting to try and get caught up administratively. And that should end in July, I believe. And when they open that back up for new applications for funding on that fund, on those funds, we're hoping to then be able to submit the second half. I am currently also working with MAG to see if there's any MAG funding that can help. Because we have found out that MAG, because of how they're structured, can give infrastructure dollars to cities for low-income homes. So they don't give per a project necessarily, but what they can do is say, well, you have of that mile of infrastructure you need to replace, 30% of that mile is in front of low-income people. Now,
What part of Woodland Hills is low income?
so here's the part.
Income, retirees.
Like, yes, so if over 65, they may qualify. They may be multimillionaires in that home,
Right.
but their income is now such
Yeah.
that we would be able to then potentially pull some funds there. So I'm going to every department that I sit on boards for as the mayor and trying to claw every cent out of everywhere we can, which is fascinating too, because the more I learn about this, when you have multiple sources of funding for a project, more departments and agencies get excited and want in. And so it becomes even easier to get funding. So the more Frankenstein we create this funding package, the more excited people are about being part of Frankenstein. So I am trying to bleed every single cent dry before we do the easy option, which is add another bill to our $75 or $78, $79 a month, right? Because it could turn into $120 a month.
Is that ever going away?
Yes, when the bond's paid back, it will go away.
That's in 2051.
Thanks for that. We're gonna live to be 100 and then we were talking about earlier.
2051?
So
And
You'll be around, Mike.
he can't use this 60,000 to pay it off earlier
Because,
It's
because
water.
this is general fund money and that was a water bond.
There's a lot of other bonds that we've got in the general fund that we could pay. We just can't pay the water.
Correct. Yeah, and so what we would need to do is if that's the decision or the recommendation from this body to the city council, is we would need to find with our, Mark Anderson over at Zions would be able to help us identify which piece or which bonds we would then be able to potentially pay off early, because I know some of them were barred from paying off early without penalties, which would exceed the 60,000 contribution.
Lori, what's our interest rate on that water bond that we got? That
0%.
was like 3%, wasn't it?
0%.
Oh, that's
Zero.
right. That is
Yeah.
correct. I'm mistaken.
So we definitely wouldn't want to be paying off
We got 0%.
0% interest.
2051's all right.
That's right. You are,
Yep.
thank you.
And so this is another thing, if people ask you guys, and I believe mostly for you, Michael, is new on the committee. And I believe you've actually heard this in city council meetings. But this new bond that we're going for right now to help pay for the third phase of the pavement management plan for the roads. By doing it this way, as we run the numbers conservatively, it'll cost us about $1 million less than if we say saved and went out for it.
This was the analysis that Tim helped us look at. Cost of construction inflation versus just doing it all up front, bonding.
Mm-hmm.
Which is so different. Yeah.
Any other questions?
nope.
Aaron, you have any questions?
No, as I look down through this list and see funding everything except for, and the except fors, we can see why there's a good reason to hold off on that because it's not terribly urgent. And as I look through the requests of how much they're requesting to do various things, I don't see anything here that jumps out at me and goes, whoa, that's way out of proportion. So,
And Michael, did you see in there that I did add
Yes,
that
$2,000.
wheelchair access?
thank you.
I should have somebody actually coming to help bid that project tomorrow, so we should actually be able to even get that done this budgetary cycle.
what was this?
We're gonna
ADA
make
access.
this side of the building ADA accessible.
This side, are you saying some is and some is not?
Correct. The offices are, but you can't access this room or the,
Oh, right, yeah, because you got a step to get up in.
right, the activity room.
So we're gonna turn that middle set of doors
Uh-huh.
into a ramp.
Nice.
So I've got my concrete guy coming to give us a bid on that. So,
Okay, Lori, we appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And they will go into the minutes that we missed Janet and Tim. And want them to know that we appreciate them and that they hope they're having a good time with whatever they're doing. So. we will-
Janet is having a good time.
You-
Janet is having a good
I
time.
know she is. I know that she is.
I imagine Tim's having a fun time with his grandson.
And Mike, you need to get over to you and.
I do.
wish
Do we
your
want to
son a happy
schedule, do
birthday.
we need to schedule another meeting?
Uh,
Should we now, or should we wait until everybody's, do you want to do it via email?
Yeah, I think so. If that's okay, next meeting to be determined.
Right,
When are you gonna vote on this, Mayor?
yeah, that's the,
So, good question. So on the 12th of this month, so next week, Tuesday, I will be presenting the mayor's budget to the council. So basically a compilation of what they've created and what you guys have then talked about. So if you find anything as you think about between now and Tuesday, please share those thoughts with me, or Lori. And so I'll be then sharing the mayor's budget. That will then start the cascade between now and basically the last meeting in June on multiple different meetings, public hearings, all of those things. And so then we'll solidify this by then. So I will be happy to send out the mayor's budget when I've solidified that. Because one of the things that's about this document is it's good for working in a situation like this. But there's, as we've seen, there are errors in here. I assume, especially with pulling Chris's salary out of 15 places, I probably still have some of his salary built in here. And so when Lori and I this week input it into Polaris, it will catch all of those potential errors that were been made. And so that's what the mayor's budget will be, is a full reconciliation of that whole process. So any thoughts, key takeaway from me, or maybe assignment, is think about potentially some options for any excess funds. Don't think about it as a $60,000 sum, just as for excess funds, we, the Council Finance Committee, would recommend XYZ in this prioritization.
Okay.
So we'll give you notice on that. And then I did want to make mention that Charlene Wild, I pronounced that right?
Yep.
Charlene Wild, will she be attending these meetings?
She can.
Okay.
Yeah, and you'll see she actually is
She's from St.
primary
George?
residence in St. George. Apparently that's a trend. we
So
have.
she'll probably attend online most of the time.
But
She actually works in Orem 2 days a week. And one of those is a Tuesday evening.
Okay.
So she said she can pop in on these types of meetings.
So do you mind if I give her a call?
No, I do
Just
not
chat
mind
with
at
her?
all.
Okay.
Please
but
do.
who's doing more of the bookkeeping? Is it Lori or is it Charlene? She's just doing end of month stuff.
It is a checks and balances.
I probably, most of it, she'll check, look for my errors. But I'm here, all day entering a lot of things,
Thank you.
so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But I'm just thinking, does it make more sense to have Lori here answering questions with Finance Committee than having Charlene that's just the state report?
I guess it would depend on the types of questions.
Yeah.
Well, she's gonna be doing what Chris did.
In some capacities, are we adjourned?
Yes. But,
Do we need to make a motion? How do you guys usually adjourn this meeting?
Like leaves?
I always did a motion, but
Okay,
with so many few people, we don't even have a quorum.
perfect.
Do we
Okay, I'm
start
gonna
the
kill this.
recording?
I'm gonna kill this.
Yeah.
If you ever need me here, let me